Unit 3, Lesson 5, this is the third example. So we're given rectangle ABCD on the axes provided below. Apply the transformation. So we're translating, that's what the capital T stands for, XY, and they give us this rule where we're adding 8 to X and we're adding 10 to Y. So if we add 8 to X, we are moving to the right 8. And if we are adding 10 to Y, again, we're moving in the positive Y direction, which would be up 10. Okay, so we're adding 10 to Y, positive is up, and we're adding 8 to X, and positive in the X is to the right. So those are our two motions that we're going to do. Graph, label, and state the coordinates of the image, A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. So first thing I'm going to do is, again, I could just go right to adding to the coordinates, but then I have to write down the coordinates of A, B, C, D, which I'm going to do as little work as possible, but it's still a valid approach. So I'm going to move point A, 8 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to move it 10 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there is A prime. So my new point for A prime is I'm on the y-axis, which is 0 in the X, and I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 up from the origin. So that's my new A value. I can apply, again, that movement of the 8 to the right and 10 up to each point. However, if I know that the two rectangles are going to be moved the same amount and the resulting figure is going to be congruent, so A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime is going to be congruent to A, B, C, D. That means the lengths are the same. So I know that AB is 3 units in the original figure, right? This is 3 units right here. So I know that A prime, B prime is also going to be 3 units. So there's B prime. I know that AC is 4 units. So I know that A prime, C prime is going to be 4 units. 1, 2. So there's my C prime. And from C to D prime, 3 units. So I've moved one of the points using the translation, since all the points move the same amount, and the two figures are congruent to one another. Once I move one point, I can use those same measurements to reconstruct my figure. And then I just figure out what those coordinates will be. So B prime is 1, 2, 3 on the X, and has the same Y coordinate as A. C is 0 on the X, and from the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. D prime is 1, 2, 3, and 4 units up. So I've done all things. I've graphed, I've labeled, I've stated the coordinates. Now it's asking me to draw and name the vector that maps pre-image to the image. So let's get a line here. Okay, and let's make it a color. Great. Okay. So we know that the vector is going to go from the pre-image point. What happened to my line? From the pre-image point to the image point. So there's my vector. I could have drawn a vector for any of them. From B to B prime. From C to C prime. From D to D prime. So when it asks me to name the vector, any of these would suffice. So I can say that, oops. Let's get rid of those. Back to the pen here, I apologize. So I could have named A prime. So again, where I start and where I end up. I could have named B prime. Again, with the little vector over it, I could have named CC prime, or I could have named my vector DD prime. Any of these would be acceptable. You only have to name one. Okay, because we know all the vectors that move all of the points are the same. They move the same distance and in the same direction.